Title: When My Stepchildren Told Me to Know My Place in the House I Paid For, I Finally Did Start. I can still hear their voices. Cold, smug, sharp as glass. Know your place in this house. The words didn't come from strangers. They came from the children I once tucked into bed, the ones whose scraped knees I bandaged, whose school trips I paid for, whose futures I quietly invested in. Stepchildren by blood, but I treated them like my own. And yet, in my own kitchen, in the house my money built, they spat those words at me like I was an intruder. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I smiled. Quiet. Controlled. That was the moment I knew everything had changed. When I married their father, I thought I was gaining more than a partner. I thought I was gaining a family. Their mother had walked away years before. I stepped in, not just as a stepmother, but as a provider. College funds, vacations, car payments, rent, groceries. Every bill, every light switched on, every mortgage payment signed, my name carried it. I gave them stability. I gave them more than they ever knew. For years, I swallowed their sharp remarks, their eye rolls, the way they compared me to the ghost of a woman who had long abandoned them. I told myself, love takes time. But time only sharpened their contempt. That day in the kitchen wasn't just a clash of words, it was a declaration. Their father sat silent as they told me, with mocking grins, that I should know my place. He didn't defend me. He didn't even flinch. He just let the words hang in the air, heavy and deliberate. And in that silence, I realized something brutal. To them, I was never family. I was an ATM with a heartbeat, a placeholder, a stranger who funded their lives while being reminded she didn't belong in them. It was then my grief hardened into resolve. I didn't storm out that night. No, that would have been too easy for them. They needed to feel the shift like a slow poison, seeping in, unnoticed, until it was too late. So I played my role. I cooked, cleaned, paid bills as usual. I smiled through their disrespect. I let them believe I had accepted my place. What they didn't see was me quietly pulling out. I called the bank, froze the joint accounts, redirected every investment, every automatic bill pay back under my sole name. I reviewed the mortgage. My name, only mine, was on the deed. I made sure every subscription, every utility, every comfort they took for granted was tied to me. And then I cut each string. Piece by piece, I pulled myself out of their world until their entire foundation rested on a single truth. It started small, a late payment notice for the internet, confusion over why the water bill hadn't cleared, a puzzled look when the fridge wasn't restocked. Then it snowballed. Electricity shut off for 3 days, insurance policies lapsed. Their father's car repossessed because the payments, my payments, had stopped. The college tuition refund letters arrived next, cold and clinical, explaining the funds had been retracted by the account holder. I watched their smug faces crumble into panic. Suddenly, the house didn't feel so secure. Suddenly, they were asking questions. It came to a head one night when they found me packing the last of my things. "Where are you going?" one of them asked, voice sharp but shaky. I didn't look up. I'm finally knowing my place. They didn't understand. Not yet. Their father came stumbling into the room, demanding to know why the mortgage company had called, why the bank accounts were drained. His voice cracked with a fear I had never heard before. I met his eyes, calm, unblinking. This house? Paid for by me. Those bills? Paid by me. Your lives? Funded by me. And since I was told to know my place, I did. My place is no longer here. My place is no longer paying for people who spit in my face. The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Within weeks, the house went dark. Foreclosure notices nailed to the door. Cars towed from the driveway. I heard whispers later. One child dropped out of school. The other picked up night shifts just to keep the lights on. Their fathers sold off furniture, desperate to scrape together what I had once provided effortlessly. And through it all, not one of them reached out to me. Pride, perhaps, or shame. Either way, I remained a ghost. Do I regret it? Not for a second. They wanted me to know my place, and I did. My place was never at their table, never in their hearts. My place was with myself, protecting what I built, refusing to bankroll people who saw me as disposable. They thought I was weak because I gave. They learned too late that giving was my choice. And when I took it back, they had nothing. So yes, I knew my place. It was walking out that door with every dollar, every ounce of support, and every shred of dignity intact, while leaving them with the brutal lesson they never saw coming.